Here is Chief Meteorologist Chase Jones.
Whoa, I tell you, it was a wild morning. Then we saw some of that steady rain through that morning commute, a little bit of that flooding across town. But as the afternoon rolled around, you see that cloud cover make its way out as if nothing ever happened. Those winds are out of the north and it's nice and cool out there. I told you that cool weather would eventually make its way in, but I promise you by the weekend, going to warm right back up into those 90s. Could see some quiet weather for a while. Temperatures over the last 24 hours. Let's take a good look from those triple digits all the way down into those upper 60s. And you see that gradual warm up all the way into those upper 70s. We'll see if we don't have a couple more degrees before we cool all the way back down somewhere in those 60s. But it's around that time of the year when I get it wrong, so we'll see if it doesn't get cooler than that. 79 in San Angelo. Everybody else in a combination of those mid to lower 70s across the entire area. We're looking for 10 degrees today. 89 in Robert Lee. 72 down there in Sonora. So we have about, what, 17 degrees across the entire Concho Valley. So we definitely are seeing some of those post-frontal conditions. Take a good look at the water vapor imagery. I'm really excited to show you guys what sort of the results are happening right now. Dew points are down there in those 50s and those 60s and those 70s, while humidity indices are up there in those 40s all the way up into those 90s. But we're going to see a lot of that moisture on its way out. Now we're at the moisture tracker. We're watching it push its way all the way down to the southern part of Texas. And of course, we're watching some dry air make its way in. That's where we could see some of those cooler temperatures in those upper to mid 50s. But off the west coast, tracking the next round of moisture. And as soon as it makes its way in here, I promise you the next cool down going to make its way in. Upper level pattern is going to show you what I'm talking about. Here's the high pressure that's going to make its way in with another cutoff low. That's going to keep things pretty calm and pretty quiet and pretty cool. But as we get closer towards the end of September and the beginning of October, a little bit of a warm up, but more severe weather is going to try to make its way in. Definitely a very dynamic transition season. That's with a lot of hurricane activity trying to fight its way up the the west and the east coast. Now, water vapor imagery finally. Take a good look at the circulation off the west coast. It's trying to get a little bit more organized, holding off the next round of cold air around the Concho Valley. We're watching the storm pummel over Louisiana. That's the exact same one from this morning, but you can see this giant pocket of cold air making its way down. Now, you heard us talking with the National Weather Service. Take a good look. This is what we call the axis of dilatation. Now, it's so large right now that those calm conditions are pretty suppressive. What does it mean? I'm not quite sure. I've never seen one that big. Now, severe weather outlook is pushing its way out of the Concho Valley. We take it down to the surface to get a better idea of those post-frontal conditions. Things are pretty calm right now across the entire western side of the United States, and we're really zooming in on the state of Texas. Watch as this storm makes its way out. Now, it's going to be pretty quiet for the rest of the week, if not the rest of the month. Watch off the west coast. We're going to see some tropical activity try to fight its way up. Now, another hurricane's trying to get organized, and of course, the model's picking up some of that moisture that will make its way in by the weekend. Should not affect kickoff, but if you see that circulation, that giant arc of cloud cover, it's going to try to fight its way back in by the weekend. So tonight, all the way back down into those 60s. We'll see if we do not get cooler than that, but it's going to be pretty chilly, so keep the extra layer close. Then tomorrow, a good run of those mid-80s, but when you wake up tomorrow, it's going to feel absolutely perfect. So as we make our way closer towards the weekend, the last weekend of September already, still holding on to those warmer temperatures in those lower 90s, but overnight, somewhere in those upper 50s. As we get closer towards the first day of October, we're going to celebrate Halloween before Christmas, Zoe. We're going to see those temperatures level out in those upper 80s while those overnight lows hang out in those lower 60s. Stay tuned. I'm up the break. You're watching KSAN News at 5.